Welcome back, Asa's Black Form, and we are here with episode 1 of Undead Unluck. I had heard about the manga before, but I decided to give the series a try when I heard that the anime was dropping it, so I watched it as it aired. Not gonna lie, it started off very gaggish, but the more bits of lore that they dropped, the more I got hooked. So I'm reviewing season 1, and depending on how it goes, I'll step into the manga. We start our story with the family parting ways before a flight. Simultaneously, we see a girl walking in the snow in what looks to be a desolate Tokyo. She's walking towards a boy laying in the snow. Back to the family, we see a mother and father giving their daughter a goodbye kiss as they board the plane. Cutting back to the girl and the girl is leaving, and the boy has her hand, simply saying, "Don't go." Between flashes of the family boarding the flight and the girl leaving the boy, we hear a clock tower ring. The boy and the girl look as if they're holding each other for the last time. Back to the flight, we see one of the engines fail and explode, causing the whole plane to blow up before takeoff. The boy and girl kiss, and then a book closes. We see that the boy and the girl story is a book that was just finished by the older version of the girl whose parents just died in the plane explosion. The day is August 1st, 2020, in Shinjuku. So the story of the couple on the plane was her real past. Then she says, "Since I've ended my favorite story, it's time to end me as well." That got dramatic real quick. It definitely caught my eye as I was watching. She's at Shinjuku train station, on the ledge about to jump. Then a shirtless man who was drinking bubble tea and listening to her stops her. He asks her what she's doing, and she says that thanks to her body, her dreams won't come true. She then pulls out a knife and tells the man that if he touches her, he'll contract an incurable disease. She keeps spouting what sounds like nonsense, and the man just walks to her, into the knife. But he doesn't die. In her shock, he jumps on the ledge and grabs her and puts her on the other side to safety. He then welcomes whatever consequences come with touching her. He seems crazy. Then she says, "Oh no, it's my unluck." The man starts wondering what's about to happen to him, and then the ledge breaks and he falls and gets hit by the train. As the girl is sulking because this is what she was trying to deter, the man's head flies back up to the bridge. And he speaks and says, "Now I get it. The disease was a front." Then we see the man's body repair itself. His clothes don't come back, so he's naked. The girl freaks out and thinks that he's a zombie. She gives bro a nut shot and then runs away. He gets mad that she hit him and called him a zombie and starts chasing her, birthday suit and all. He catches up to her and starts flying and says, "I'm undead, I'm not a zombie." When his body repaired, his shins and below didn't, and he's been compressing blood and using the kinetic energy from the build-up to fly. He just keeps compressing and ejecting blood. This is also how his head came flying back up to the bridge. Cops are alerted to a woman being chased and a man yelling, so Undead grabs Unluck and they fly out of there. They hop building to building to safety. As he's explaining to her how his power works, she tries to get away. He grabs her by the leg and she tells him to let go before her power activates. Nothing happens as he's only grabbing her by the pants leg and not making direct contact with her skin. He tells her to explain to him how her power works, but she basically just says, "No creep, I don't know you." Then we see him on the ledge, once again in his birthday suit, swinging her around until he gets the information that he wants. It doesn't take her long to talk. She tells him the story of 10 years ago when she was 8 years old, which makes her 18. We get another character of age, ladies and gentlemen. She says that her family was boarding a flight to go overseas without her. And you know, it's the story of the parents and the flight blowing up. They were only supposed to be gone for a week. They get hugs and kisses before they leave, and a half an hour later, we get the explosion. 270 lives lost. That's how she learned the varying degrees of her unluck. The longer you are in direct contact with her skin, the worse the unlucky event will be. Since then, she's tried to cover up her skin as much as possible. Gloves, long pants, sweaters, and jackets. Our story gets interrupted by creeper activity from Undead. He tries to cop a feel. Okay, he does, but it's just an experiment. Just to experience what she was talking about. I think. It's weird. I know. He holds on to her longer than he did when she was trying to jump, so that he could see the increased unluck. And he's undead, so he doesn't really care about much. We see an airplane with an open cargo door, and a crate of bananas falls onto him and squishes him. Unluck takes the time to get away from Crazy Man with the crazy plan, and he pops back to life in the banana crate while eating a banana and takes off after her. They give us a real Wile E. Coyote moment here for real. Unluck isn't paying attention to where she's going and slips on a banana peel and falls off the building. Now she's making regrets for the life that she was trying to leave. Her book is also flung from her, and with badass choreography, Undead flies in and saves her again. He also catches her book. After he saves her, he says, "I'm not gonna let you die, I just found a power that can end me." Understand the dimension that comes with not being able to die. Losing your loved ones, constantly being thrown in an ever-changing environment. Nothing is ever the same. You see everything change. Undead takes Unluck to his hideout to study her and get to know her better. We see men in suits onlooking as one reports that Undead is headed back to his hideout. So, length of time is a variable. Also, amount of surface area is a variable when it comes to inducing Unluck. At the hideout, Unluck and Undead are talking. Yeah, he also asks her to join him in the birthday suit club. He finally put on pants though. We see a real game of tag as Unluck takes off running as she understands what Undead means by surface area. And something else I'm not gonna say on here. While running away from Undead, Unluck's jacket gets caught on some rebar and it snatches off, revealing that she has really long hair. I'm talking maybe 8 feet long hair tucked away in her jacket. She's had it tucked away for years and it's gotten so long because she can't cut it and no one else can touch her because of the Unluck. Yes, your hair is alive and a part of you, so it activates the power. Once the hair comes out, she stops yelling, and Undead just says, "That's one hell of a mane." She breaks down and starts crying. She's had enough of him. Then Undead pulls out a styling kit and starts giving her a haircut. She starts freaking out because he's touching her head and hair, but he tells her that it's okay because it won't activate until he lets go of her. Length of time. He's able to give her a nice haircut, which she hasn't had in years. She likes it. Undead backs away from her, and she thanks him. But he was being sly and taking the opportunity to run another experiment. He says, "Alright, this time we were in contact for 15 minutes straight. Let's see it." Handsome Jack. Right then, Undead is beheaded by the onlooker who was reporting that he was headed back to his hideout. The man speaks and tells Unluck thank you for having him drop his guard, but she doesn't know who he is. He then puts Undead's head in a container that stops his regeneration. As he's talking, one of the YNs cuffs Unluck as well. He then tells her that they're from an organization. His job is to police and investigate any negators or power holders and any Yuma, any specified creatures who are living incarnations of concepts. He tells Unluck that he'll use her power as a weapon, and that's why Undead captured her as well, which is a lie and Unluck knows it. The whole time he's had her power, he's not once talked about hurting anyone else. He's only tried to hurt himself with it. She defends Undead, and one of the goons starts to get aggressive with her, and she starts to think that all this happened because of how long he was touching her while he was cutting her hair. As she's talking, lightning falls and strikes the YN holding Undead's head. The others think that her power did this, but the leader says no. They didn't make any contact, maybe it was his own bad luck. Right then, Undead bursts out of the capsule, regenerates, and takes on the bad guys. Leader Goon tells everyone that guns won't work on Undead, so everybody readies swords. They also think that because he's undead, he doesn't focus on fighting skill. They're wrong. Undead has lived at least 120 years. He has a cork in his brain which stops the regeneration of memories. When he wants to access the old him, he removes the card. The scar where the card was in his head heals and his hair grows longer. And he ends all the goon squad in just a few moves. Undead says that leaving the card out for too long will make him rage, so he smashes it back into his head. Only the leader goon is left, and he takes Unluck hostage. Then tells Undead his head for her life. Unluck asks him to save himself and leave her, but before she can even finish speaking, he's already chopped his head off, and he's holding in his hand. He thanks her for the day and says that he's had fun. He figures that he's got a good handle on her powers, and this is where we part ways. Undead tosses his head to the goon, and Unluck rushes out the goon's hands and kisses Undead on the cheek. Now, Undead was under suspicion that she was hiding some aspect of her power the whole time, and he was right. The more she cares for you, the more the Unluck will increase. Even through his weird, aggressive, perverted shenanigans, Unluck actually does care for Undead. I mean, he has saved her 3 times already and gave her a new look. So Leader Goon catches Undead's head, and Undead understands what Unluck is doing. She's aiming the Unluck. Since Undead can survive anything, it seems, Unluck will activate her power on Undead and just make sure that he's around enemies. We look to the skies, and Unluck has summoned a meteor that demolishes the whole hideout. Out from the pile of smoking rubble walks Undead. Here's where we finally get Unluck's name, Fuko Izumo. Undead has lived so long he doesn't remember his name, so Unluck gives him one, and just calls him Andy, or Undy. Yeah, it's a play on his undead power, and he is in his underwear or less all the time. Anyway, welcome to episode 1 review of Undead Unluck. Thank you so much for watching. Asta's Black Form. Remember to like, share, comment, follow, and subscribe. We'll see you guys later.